Online reselling has quickly become one of the most lucrative side hustles. So lucrative, in fact, that it has transformed from part-time side hustle to a full-time job for many who have dared to dip their toes in the waters of eBay, Whatnot, and Poshmark. These and other online marketplaces are allowing resellers to reach all corners of the globe from the comfort of their home office. In my experience as an online reseller and teaching online reselling, the biggest barrier to entry is intimidation. There are two main things that seem to intimidate people and keep them from even trying online reselling, and that is shipping and knowing what to pick up. Researching what sells on eBay in and of itself can be a full-time job. Now, I have many shipping videos here on the channel, so today I'm going to be tackling that second barrier to entry, and that is what sells on eBay in 2025. Of course, we're going to be taking a peek at some of my sales in the last 90 days, but I'm also going to give you a look at two other online sellers, specifically eBay sellers, to give you a more diverse range of options about what you can pick up and what is actually selling on eBay. Now, there are literally hundreds of categories of what to list and what to sell on eBay, but I can confidently say that the most important category that you need to be sourcing in is the one that you are the most passionate about. Anything else will simply become another job. And if you're working eBay as a side hustle, the last thing you want it to feel like is just another job. We're gonna keep the hobby and fun elements to this by ensuring that you're picking up what you are most passionate about. I'll explain it this way. If you dropped off 500 used screwdrivers on my front porch and told me to list those on eBay, sure, I could get it done, but boy, would that be a chore. That is how sellers wind up with a pile of items that they bought but never listed. Something piqued their interest when they grabbed that item, but they just weren't passionate enough about it to actually try to find it a new home and even list it. Resellers call it their death pile, and I'm encouraging you to never get one started. First, let's take a look at some of my sales in the past 90 days and my demographic as a seller. Now, I've been selling on eBay for over 10 years. I am a 39-year-old work from home mother of two with multiple sources of income, multiple streams of revenue, but with that, multiple things that are constantly tugging at and vying for my very limited time and attention. Over the years, I've become more and more selective as a reseller. My store once boasted over 1,700 items, and I have scaled that way back to just several hundred items over on eBay. I truly list and sell the things that I am passionate about. Now, I have tried to raise my ASP, my average sales price, but that being said, if it's something I'm passionate about, if it's something that I want to save from the garbage and rehome, I'll sell a $5 item. Knowing a bit about my demographic as a seller, let's take a look at some of the things I've sold in the last 90 days. We'll start out with a real banger here. This is actually my most expensive sale in the last 90 days. Now, this is the 1989 Lenox Spice Village. Lenox recently revamped this. They came out with a new version that was launching 2025. People were already nuts over the Spice Village, but I think that reignited a lot of the interest. Now, I bought this Spice Village at an auction. I paid way more than what I would recommend paying for one single item at an auction. But again, this is after years of knowing what I'm doing as a reseller. I paid, like, I want to say $275 for this. It did sell for $800 plus $30 shipping, plus the buyer paid international shipping to Canada on this item. So I was very happy. I was hoping to get closer to $1,000 for it, but knowing that the new Spice Village was coming out, I also knew I needed to unload it before people could go buy a bright and shiny brand new one. I knew that the Lenox Spice Village was a major bolo from watching videos just like the one that you're watching on YouTube. So keep watching, because I'm sure that you're gonna find something that you'll run into in the future. This next item I actually found in the closet of an estate sale. It wasn't even listed for sale. It wasn't being marketed for sale. There were tons of old photos in this closet, and I could see that the guy that used to own this house, the photos, the camera, he had served in the military. I found the camera that he actually took a lot of those photos with, asked his family if they would consider selling it. They did sell it to me. I want to say I paid at or just under $20 for this camera. I've had it listed for the better part of a year, maybe longer, and I just sold it to someone in New York for $125 plus $9 shipping. Now, while I know old cameras can be worth something, this wasn't a brand I was familiar with. I simply looked it up, and that's how I knew that $20 was not overpaying for this camera. This next item, I absolutely love to sell these. I will pick them up all the time, especially in my area where they are usually offered at thrift stores for around $8 to $10. This is a vintage solid brass 5-piece tool fireplace set. They always sell for around $100 plus shipping. I live in the middle of our country in Missouri, so I can usually ship these for around 30 bucks. I've said in the past you can ship almost anything from my location via FedEx for $27, as long as it's not too big and as long as it's not around the holidays, because those rates can really skyrocket. But this item, I know every time I find one, like I say, around $8 to $10, it's a $100 sale every time. Here's a really interesting one. Something I love to sell is a vintage Barbie. I sometimes have a hard time selling it because I want to keep all of it. But recently I came up on a huge Barbie haul. I did a video about it. I will link that below in the description. If you're interested in vintage Barbie, you can see I bought tons of boxes of Barbie items. I paid right under $450 because there was some Lego that my son bought included with it. So I think I was around $435 for everything. Guys, I sold this one top pair of pants and shoes for $110, plus the buyer paid $5 shipping. Yes, some Barbie clothes can be worth $1, $2 a piece, but some Barbie outfits can be worth hundreds. There are some Barbie outfits that'll go for $1,000 or more. So use Google Lens, figure out the outfit or the piece to an outfit that you have. I pieced this together out of the boxes, out of the lot, and yeah, $100 richer on that one. These next two items I actually found in a thrift store. It's a tabletop game. So Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop game, a game where you would sit around and there's strategy, and this game is based around war. These particular pieces are based around the German military vehicles, German military soldiers. I found these for $20. They were $19.99 at a Teen Challenge thrift store, ran comps on them, saw that they were selling for around $100 a piece with more than 100% sell-through rate. You may be asking, what is the sell-through rate? That's the rate at which an item is listed versus how many have sold in the last 90 days. For instance, if there are 10 items currently listed and 100 have sold in the last 90 days of that exact item, you know that that thing's gonna sell as soon as you get it listed, because there are 10 times as many buyers as there are currently sellers. Conversely, if there were 100 items listed and only 10 have sold in the last 90 days, you're gonna have to sit on that item for a little while before it sells, because the market is oversaturated. There just are not as many buyers as they are sellers. It's definitely a buyer's market. You wanna be in a seller's market. And on these, that was the case. I barely had these listed 2 weeks and they sold just like that for 5 times what I paid for them. This is one of my best sells for an individual Barbie doll. This is a camping Barbie. She had a glow-in-the-dark sleeping bag. Her hair changes colors. She was really, really awesome. You can see the keyword AA in the title here. That is for African American. The white version of this doll, the blonde version of this doll, does not sell for nearly as much as the African American one does. She sold for $75 plus $8.50 shipping. Now, not every single thing that I pick up am I 100% just ecstatic, over the moon passionate about. This is a case of that. These are a Xyron 505 laminator sticker bundle. I found these for $1 an item at my thrift store. They were all new in the package. The laminator itself had the original box as well. So I'm paying $4 for this. Looked it up because I'm not sure exactly what those sold for. Knew that I could sell it for $40 plus the $10 shipping. So the buyer's all in $50 for something I paid $4 for. It was brand new. It was very easy. Again, the sell-through rate was there, where there were more sold than currently listed. So this just looked like it was gonna be easy money, and that's why I picked it up. Here's another Barbie outfit, $54. You guys have the hanger, the dress, the belt, and the shoes. I actually saw the belt itself and I thought, oh, this is such a fun little belt. And when I Google Lensed the dress, the belt came up. So love selling Barbie clothes. I will sell them all the time. I sell them not only on eBay, but also on Whatnot. Now I have tons of videos about Whatnot here on the channel. So I will keep talking about Whatnot pretty brief. If you want to check any of those out, I will put the description of the playlist down below, as well as a link to get you started as a seller on Whatnot and get you approved like that. This next item is vintage clothing, which is also something that I'm pretty passionate about. I love to pick up anything vintage, especially vintage fashion. This is a vintage jerseys Kansas City Chiefs reversible puffer, probably worth more right now than it even was when it sold. Looks like it sold December 6th. Really cool, like I say, reversible jacket. I picked it up for $4 at my local thrift store. I picked it up because it was vintage and because it was Kansas City Chiefs, because it was sports. Those were really the three biggest things. It was in pretty decent condition. There were a few flaws, but it didn't keep it from selling for $49 plus $9 shipping. Here's another Barbie item that may surprise you, this little dress. Shout out to my friend Mary for helping me to identify this little black dress. Purse, no shoes, a hanger, and a cloak, sold for $50 plus $5 shipping. I came across some Living Dead dolls around Halloween at my local thrift store, brand new in the package, $15 a piece. Someone had donated their entire collection, which led me to believe if one person collected these, I bet other people collect these as well. So I looked them up. Sure enough, they were worth picking up. This one sold on the lower end, but sold for $40 plus $9 shipping. I picked this tea set up at my local thrift store. The cups were 25 cents a piece, so $1.25 in the cups. And I want to say the teapot itself was $2 or $3, so I have less than $5 in this little vintage Japanese tea set that I sold for $29.95 plus $10 shipping. I'm not afraid to ship breakables like this because after a decade of reselling, I have every tip and trick there is to shipping fragile items. And again, I have a ton of shipping videos here on the channel. My most popular one about shipping breakables, I will link down below. Be sure to check that out if shipping breakables intimidates you and keeps you from picking something like this up. If you're leaving money on the table because of shipping, you just haven't watched enough shipping videos yet. Here is a jacket that I picked up for $4 at the thrift store. It was leather, 100% leather, so of course I grabbed it. When I pick up leather jackets though, I do a sniff test in the thrift store. I want to ensure that that item doesn't smell like smoke. You can get that smell out, but it's not worth the time and trouble to me. Unless it was vintage leather, then I probably would pick it up, hang it outside, let the sun do its work, use vinegar and oil. This one had none of those problems, so I was able to flip my $4 into $24 plus $10 shipping. I know a lot of people think buyers always want free shipping online, but that is simply not the case on eBay. Buyers know that they are not buying from Amazon, and often in categories like I sell in, where else are you gonna find this item but eBay? Because oftentimes it's vintage, they're simply not making it anymore. Now this is a lower end Barbie sale, but I had to show you guys this today. Just this pair of sneakers and these socks sold for $30 plus shipping. Not all Barbie socks are worth that, but these ones were. And again, I just used Google Lens. If you want to be a reseller and you don't have Google Lens, go get Google Lens. It's 100% free app on your phone. You can literally take a picture of items and Google will search the internet. It helps you to identify and name the item. Then you can go to eBay with that information and actually run comps. I thought that this was going to be worth quite a bit more than what it was. Turns out it sold for only $25 plus $10 shipping, but I only gave a couple dollars for this art glass vase at a local Goodwill. I honestly was hoping I had like some modernist piece that was going to go for hundreds of dollars, but the buyer's all in at $35. Here are two items that I found at a local estate sale. They are Cat's Meow houses. Now, would I do this one all over again? Probably. It was pretty easy to ship. I picked up most of these houses. I mean, I bought an entire table of Cat's Meow houses and I've sold almost all of them. I think I only have 2 lots of them left. I've made hundreds of dollars off of them. And did I know anything about Cat's Meow before I bought these? Absolutely not. But again, if one person collects it, there's chance that someone else collects it, and collectors often have to go to eBay. So definitely look into and comp out collectible items when you see them. Being a vintage seller, I like to sell the things that they are not making anymore. Again, items that you have to run to eBay for. Vintage Christmas light bulbs is definitely one of those. I have a couple different Christmas light bulb sales to show you guys here. $21.98 plus $5 shipping on this set. It was a total of 36 different bulbs, $16 plus $5 shipping on these 20 bulbs, and $11 plus $5 shipping on these 2 boxes of C7.5 colored bulbs. Now, if you're not new here and you've been around the channel for any amount of time, you know I also like to sell really weird things. I once sold a gum wrapper from the 1960s. I found it in a little boy's coat pocket. My husband almost threw it away, and I thought, no, someone is looking for a gum wrapper of Wrigley Spearmint gum from the 60s. It sold for $12. I sold a nickel once for $10 because, you know, it had an off mint mark, or maybe it was missing a mint mark. There was something special about it. This item goes right in line with that. Sold this matchbook for $4 plus $5.65 shipping. Again, the buyer actually paid more for shipping than they did the item, but where else are they gonna find a Cookeville, Tennessee savings and loan matchbook from the 60s? Where, I ask you? I actually rescued that particular item from my husband's grandparents' estate. When I saw those matchbooks, I knew I had to have them. Speaking of my husband, he's the next eBay seller that we're gonna take a look at his sales. Now, eBay for him is very much a part-time side hustle. It makes up a smaller percentage of his income than eBay does for me. So he very much does eBay on the side, more hobby-like compared with his full-time job. He is a full-time electrician, does not have the same amount of time in a day to source items like I do. Let's take a look at some of his sales, and if you identify more with him demographically, these could be some items that might sell for you too.
A lot of the items that I'm going to be going through today are tools that were previously my grandpa's, that he used to be a mechanic. While there was a lot of tools that I couldn't use, I knew that there would be a lot of people out there that would be looking for them that could. The first item that I sold was a vintage Chicago Tools pneumatic zip gun, and it sold for $150. The next item up is a vintage Snap-on half-inch drive flex head ratchet. It sold for $100 plus shipping. Snap-on is a really good brand. It's always worth picking it up, whether it's new or old. It is a very well-made tool. I literally saved this next one from the trash. It is a Cutler hammer main breaker that I pulled out of our old electrical panel myself. I could have thrown it away, but I decided to sell it on eBay for $110. This is something that they're not making anymore, so I knew there'd be somebody out there looking for it. I did some retail arbitrage also. That's when you buy something new from the store and resell it. I sold a Bosch 12-volt reciprocating saw for $100. I found it at Lowe's on clearance for around like $28, I believe.
He actually stole this next one from me, so I'm gonna cover your face with this one.
Really?
This item I found at the thrift store for like $10. I feel like you can find them all the time at the thrift store for 10 bucks. And apparently I was not passionate enough about listing it. It was sitting in my death pile, so maybe it should be covering my face.
Maybe it should be. It wound up in my garage after it left your death pile, and I sold it for $72 plus shipping.
They're called the Back to Life Massager, and they have a really good sell-through rate over on eBay. So I'm gonna go hunt for something out of your death pile. Do you have a death pile? I'm gonna go hunt for something that I can list on my eBay of yours. You keep telling them about your other sales.
Have a death pile.
Sure you don't.
Next up, I sold a pair of Jordan 4s that I bought on eBay for $79. I picked them up for $23. I also enjoy doing some retail arbitrage when it comes to shoes if I find them. I sold a pair of North Face shoes and a pair of Adidas for $79 and $69 plus shipping on each one of them. Now these I wish that I would have listed at the same time, because they ended up selling to the same buyer. It definitely would have saved me to ship them at the same time. These were some more weights that Rachel had junking up my garage since 2020.
I'm beginning to think that your garage is an unsafe place to store things. Like, how much of my stuff in the garage have you just sold?
I wish there was more. Combined, less than 30 pounds of weight sold for $120. Weights used to sell for about $1 a pound. They sell for quite a bit more than that now, especially vintage ones. This one, Della would be upset that I sold. It was a Mustang RC car that we actually got at a yard sale or something, I believe, one time, and it sold for $50 plus shipping. Here's another pair of retail arbitrage shoes that sold for $59. They're a pair of North Face men's slippers.
Our next seller is my 18-year-old son. He is fresh out of high school, a full-time reseller, but he splits his time between eBay and whatnot. So if that fits your demographic more, let's take a look at what he sold.
First thing that I sold was pretty cool. I walked into Walmart looking for a certain Lego thing, and then I found the clearance aisle, and then boom, I found this beautiful, it's up here somewhere, I found this beautiful X-Men Cyclops Lego set for only like $20, and I sold it for $60 same day. Then I sold these wrestlers. I then sold these wrestlers, which I had as a kid, barely played with them, no clue who they were, but yep, sold them here. Looked them up with Google Lens, sold them for $50 with $6 shipping. Next, I sold this Pokemon card right here. I got it from a lot that my dad purchased years ago, like right before all the Pokemon stuff exploded. I sold the rest of the Pokemon stuff again years ago on Whatnot, but I kept this card around and I sold it right here for $45 plus shipping. So pretty good for a piece of paper. Not all Pokemon cards are worth a lot of money, but some of them are worth looking up. This next thing is just some Lego castle and horses that I couldn't get rid of on my Whatnot, so I just decided to throw them up on eBay for an auction, and they sold for what the start price was, which I'm fine with that because I started them for the least I would take for it, so it all worked out. Do not start your auctions at 99 cents. That's proof that you need more than one platform. Don't just sell on one thing, because I couldn't get rid of them on Whatnot, but they sold super quickly over on eBay. Lately, I've been selling a lot of Nintendo Switch and Nintendo DS games on eBay. They've just been sitting in my closet. I haven't touched my Switch in years, so it was a no-brainer for some quick money, and they literally sold within 48 hours of listing.
There it is, what's selling on eBay in 2025 from 3 different eBay sellers. I hope that what has become one of my most lucrative sources of income can soon become one of yours also. Definitely stick around and hit that subscribe button if reselling is something that interests you. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach, as you can tell. The way we source, what we sell, all of that can be customized to truly fit you, your lifestyle, and what you're most interested in. I thank you so much for watching today's video. God bless, and remember, as always, treat your business like your business.